You're watching the Nubia RedMagic 6R Disassembly. If you need any tools, there are links in the description. First, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Now we need to use a hairdryer or a heat gun to apply heat to the back plate so we can loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we're going to use a plastic pry tool to pry the back plate off. So here you have a look at the plastic back plate. On the inside of the back plate, there's graphite padding all around. There are two Phillips screws holding down the camera lens cover which need to be removed. Once those screws are removed, there is some adhesive underneath it as well, so you're going to have to peel it off. Here's a better look at that. At this point, there are 16 additional Phillips screws which need to be removed. Now the top plastic cover can be lifted up and removed. There are numerous antenna lines on this black plastic cover, which are these light gray color lines, and your NFC antenna is located right over here. Your LED flash is over here, and there's this graphite film over here which sits over your battery. Here is a look at the other side. There are two battery cables which need to be disconnected. Once the battery cables are disconnected, we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There are three wire cables or coaxial cables which we need to disconnect. We can just lift them up and pop them off. There's some copper tape covering the connector for the front-facing camera, as well as the connector for this camera over here, which we need to peel off so the cables can be disconnected. There are two Phillips screws holding down the main board which need to be removed. Once those screws are removed, we can lift up and remove the main board. On this side of the board, the secondary microphone is located right over here. There's also some graphite film over here on top of these shields. Here's a look at it with the shields removed. On the other side, we can see some thermal paste over here, which is on top of this graphite film and copper tape. There's also a liquid damage indicator, which is a white sticker over here. Once we peel off the graphite film and copper tape, as well as remove the shield on this side over here, we can see thermal paste, which is on top of the processor and RAM over here, and some thermal pads on these chips. We can proceed to remove the bottom plastic cover. Now we're going to disconnect this flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard. There are two Phillips screws on either side of the charger port which need to be removed. We need to disconnect this flex cable as well. Now we can lift up and remove the charger port. Here's a better look at the charger port. Now the flex cable for the fingerprint reader can be disconnected. And then we're going to disconnect the coaxial cables. There's one Phillips screw located over here holding on the subboard which needs to be removed. Now we can lift up and remove the subboard. Your main microphone is located right over here. On the other side we can see the SIM reader over here. At this point we can lift up and remove the speaker assembly. Here's a better look at the speaker assembly. There's a mesh filter over here over the opening. And here's the speaker itself. In order to remove the battery, we need to use some isopropyl alcohol and get some on the sides of the battery. And we're going to let it sit for about a minute so it eats away at the adhesive underneath, making it easier to pry the battery off. Here's a better look at the battery. Now prying this battery off was extremely difficult. There's a lot of adhesive underneath it. So you're going to have to be patient and take your time. Here's a look at the other side. So here you can see all that adhesive over here underneath the battery. Once we peel back this film over here, we can see the copper heat pipe underneath. Also, now that the battery is removed, we can see the screen cable over here, which is routed through this opening in the mid frame. So if you want to replace your screen, you need to remove the back plate as well as the top cover, and then you'd have to disconnect the battery cable and the screen cable from the main board, and then you'd have to remove the battery itself, so you'd have access to the screen cable over here to run it through the opening. And then you'd heat up the front of the phone where the screen is, pry the screen off, and then you'd get your new screen, apply new adhesive, and reapply your screen back to the mid frame and reassemble your phone. So moving on, there's a thermal pad over here underneath the speaker as well. There's some residual thermal paste over here from underneath the main board, and your two touch capacitor keys are located over here. There are plastic covers covering them which can be lifted up and removed. The flex cable for your power button and volume keys is located over here, and there's a metal bracket over here holding them in place, so you just have to lift up that bracket in order to remove them. Your vibrator motor is located down here in the corner, and the earpiece speaker is over here on top, which is also held in with some adhesive, so if you have to replace that, just heat it up and pry it off. And this flex cable over here would be for your proximity sensor. As far as repairability goes, I'd have to give this phone a 6 out of 10. Aside from the fact that most of the parts are replaceable, it's not really an easy phone to take apart. Alright, now it's time to put the phone back together. Once all the screws are back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply your back plate. And flip over your phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks again for watching guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.